All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Garage Gym Athlete Podcast. Jerred here with Brian Walsh, man. How's it going?
Going well, man. How you doing, Jerred?
I'm doing pretty well. So it's been much longer than we both thought since you originally were on the podcast. If anyone wants to listen to Brian's first podcast, we published it October 1st, 2020. So definitely check that out. We like to keep up with our athletes, check back in, see how things are going. So Brian, welcome back to the show, man. How's everything going for you?
Thank you, man. Going well. Gosh, I can't complain. I'm now garage gym athlete for life as of end of last year. So still training hard, still enjoying all the programming. So appreciate what you guys are putting out
Awesome.
regularly.
Yeah, we appreciate you being around. And so for anybody, we've probably picked up quite a few listeners between October 2020 and now. So give us a quick intro, for everybody listening, all the typical stuff, what you do for a living, how you train. Well, we kind of know that, where you're from, all that good stuff.
Yep. So I'm just turned 44 today. Actually, today's my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. So I'll tell you more about that later on. But yeah, so today is my birthday, 44. I am father, husband, been married 22 years, 3 kids, one getting ready to go off to college, and the other two in about middle school, getting ready to move on. So for work, other than that, I sit at a desk most of the day, sit at a standing desk now because I'm home. Go into office about 1 day a week, but for the most part, I run like strategy guides for IT for a large pharma med device company. So most of the day sitting, so workouts are really important for me to get some movement in because the rest of the day tends to be stuck in meetings, moving around, trying to get what I can in.
Yeah, that's what my son got, basically like a glorified pedometer he can wear on his wrist. And I don't know, he gets like 1,000,000 steps a day or whatever it is. And he's like, why do I get more steps than you? And I'm like, look, I work out every day, but most of my job is still sedentary. Like I'm standing around. I do have a standing desk, but I sit down as well at the standing desk. And it's just funny what we have to force ourselves to be active, to no matter really what your career profession is. Like, you have to do it.
Yeah, my kid's the same way. Like he'll do soccer practice wearing his pedometer and stuff, and he'll be like, "Dad, I got like 25,000 steps." I was like, "Yeah, I got like 5. It was a bad day today."
Yeah, I don't even want to compete. And then, and this will be the last thing on the pedometer, but he did something last night and it got wiped clean. And this was it was like 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. And then he went outside, played basketball, played with his brother or whatever, came back in and was still met how many steps I had done for the day. And he only had like a 2-hour window between when we had last checked it. And I was like, okay, yeah, I can't. It's not even.
Can't compete with them.
Awesome, man. Well, let's get into some other updates. Any recent meet yourself moments you've encountered in training?
So last time podcast I said was Kalsu. It's still the one workout that I said was complete, met myself, couldn't finish it, just said forget it. I actually attempted a dominable snowman and I said forget it. My mindset wasn't right at the beginning of it. I got about 10 minutes in, I said forget it, I'm done. And then this morning is my birthday. My buddy likes to do 10 times your birthday for burpees. So 440 burpees this morning. And I was about 300 in. He came pretty close to quitting. He was finished about 10, 15 minutes before me.
That hurts the mental even a little bit more.
Every ounce of mental power just to get through those last 100, basically. So yeah, today was a rough one. Got through it, but pretty much met myself throughout the process.
That's a lot of burpees, man. You definitely. Where did that start to not feel good? Was it like at the 50 mark and you're like, oh, wow, this is a huge mistake? Or was it like 100? Like, where were you like, oh, this might be a bad idea?
It was pretty much at about the 40, 50 mark.
Yeah.
And I thank Joe for destroying our arms and squats this week. So my legs are still pretty tired. We did like probably almost 100 pull-ups this week in strength track programming. So arms are pretty shot. I was shaking through the last 150. I couldn't even go down on burpees. So it was pretty bad.
That is bad. Yeah, that's I did not do that many, but I haven't been doing it as much lately because of how much it sucks. But if I needed 300 calories I'll just do burpees. And I think I've only done it like twice now. I thought that was going to be my go-to, but I'm like, I would rather do almost anything else than
get on the Airdyne, go for a bike, do something.
Yeah, because those are just so brutal. So any recent struggles that you've come across in training on your own, or it sounds like you have a partner, or just training in general?
Yeah, thankfully I do have a buddy that works out with me every day. That's from the last podcast. Like I work out in his garage during the summertime. We're in my basement right now because it's winter time, so that helps a ton. Keeps the motivation going. Job last year was traveling quite a bit, so traveling always puts a mark in your trying to keep consistent. So I was down in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, multiple times, different places, and just trying to figure out how do I squeeze in a workout here? How can I fit it in? Because when you're traveling, like I'll spend 8 hours in the car, drove up to Massachusetts for something else. Getting there, it's like, all right, I got to get a workout in. How am I going to do this? Thankfully, this year hasn't been as heavy. So with the daily over decades challenge, I haven't had to deal with it yet, but I know it's coming. So trying to keep consistent is always the part. Just as you're traveling, when you're away from your gym, just trying to do something.
Yeah, traveling is the hardest part of the this daily over decades challenge. I've had a few trips. I have a few more this year. I'm actually thinking about canceling. I'm just kidding. But I feel like I should, because some of them, it's almost an impossibility. Like, unless you just decided that you were going to wake up at 3 a.m., like sometimes I'll have a flight at 7, depending on how far the travel is, like I'm not actually getting to where like the airport until like a rental car until 7 p.m. There might be a drive. And so, yeah, I can still do it, but it's just like, that was a 16-hour day. And so it really pushes you. Like I've still done those. I've still done them, but those are some tough workouts to get through.
And it's like you always say, it's about killing that comfort level, because the easy part is to get to the hotel, crash, and be like, I'm done. But try to go mindset wise, let me just get through something. And all right, I get it done. And then you feel better when you get it done. So it's always the mindset. You got to remember, when I get to the end of this, it's going to feel better. Just get started.
Yeah, I think in my worst mental states, I'll even be 10 minutes into the workout and still being like, this is stupid. I don't want to do it. But then when I finish, like you're saying, I feel accomplished. I'm so glad I did it. I couldn't believe that I had the terrible mindset before I started. It's just such like a 180 after that workout's completed. So it's always worth doing.
Yeah, that's where I was with Abominable Snowman. I was like, mindset wasn't there. I said, forget it. I'm not doing this. My abs hurt. My arms hurt. They're shaking. It was a bad idea. I'm going. I'm sitting back down.
Yeah, man. And like a lot of like what could be going on in life too. I know I did that with Murph, like just things. I knew walking into some of those workouts, I'd be like, I'm not with it today. Like I don't have the typical mental fortitude today. I might still get it done, but it's like, that you walking into it certain days where you're just not your normal self.
Absolutely.
Awesome, man. Well, podcast, what have you taken, from any recent episodes, whether it's a study or topic that resonated with you or that you liked, maybe you've been able to implement something, anything you pulled?
I think when I think about it, it's the running and the running idea, the idea that you just get out and get moving, the idea that running just helps your mental balance. If you go back, I started as a runner. That's really what got me into more of a consistent workout basis. And I knew the mindset that set me. And so even when I woke up in the morning, it didn't feel right, get out, get started moving down the road. You get a mile in and you're like, all right, I'm feeling pretty good now. Changes your mindset, gets your mind off of the junk going on around you. I always tell people, if you got garbage going on in your life, get out and do something. Whether it's lifting weights, whether it's running, whether it's playing basketball, whatever it is, go do something, because it changes your mindset. And I think the study just reemphasized all that same thought process that I've always had. People tell me I'm addicted to it, and I'm kind of like a glutton for punishment. I like to go out and make my body hurt, but it's more so that I know the benefits that it brings to you.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And even if you are addicted, like, who cares? It's like the best thing. I mean, unless it got to an unhealthy standpoint, you're like, yeah, I'm going to train 6 times a day and just punish myself. Okay, we're going in a weird direction here. But if you're just like, yeah, I get my training in and I want it to be, challenging, it's making you a better person every single time.
Yeah, and that's why I started out when my buddy was doing running. I was running Saturdays. I was doing all that. I was up to doing half marathons, sprint triathlons, trying to do all of that. And it got winding to the point where it was almost hurting me on a Saturday, because you do so much effort on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And then you'd be tired the rest of the day. And then when we switched into CrossFit, my body was starting to hurt. I could feel my shoulder hurting, and I was constantly in repair mode. And I said, I got to do something that changes this trajectory. And thankfully, when I introduced my buddy to Garage Gym Athlete, he was good for the first 30-day trial. And then he was like, you know what, let's just keep doing it. I was like, yes, no more CrossFit junk, no more crazy workouts all week long. We'll be good.
That's awesome. Yeah. And that's what I'm a big advocate of, leaving a little bit in the tank by the end of the workout, because we still have life to handle for the rest of the day, depending on what time you train or whatever. But I know I have had the days where it'll typically be like on a Saturday where I just empty the tank and I'm just not that useful for the family anymore. Like I'm still around, I'm still doing things, but like, yeah, we should be doing some extra like yard work or playing around with the kids or whatever. And I'm just not in the mood for it because I really like emptied it on that Saturday. And I try not to do that anymore. I try to like get the workout in, but leave some in the tank. Even if it's meet yourself Saturday, just like do it, but let's not go 100%. Let's meet ourselves at 90. That's still possible. Like
Not,
let's leave some in the tank. So
not trying to break any records. I'm gonna at the end of the day, my focus is on my family, and I got to be there for them. So I'm not going to break any records. I'm not going in to try to train and win some competitions. So it's about keeping healthy and staying strong.
I love that mindset, man. That's awesome. Well, any training that you're looking forward to right now, either goals or stuff you got going on, anything like that?
So we talked daily over decades. Just I did the 200 level 2, so I didn't want to go 300. I said it's going to be a little too much for me. So I think I'm consistent with 200. Watching that, trying to make sure that I start my Garmin watch at the beginning of the workouts is the hardest part I think of it, because I usually don't. So that's in there. I've been debating signing up for another half marathon or a sprint triathlon at some point. I just haven't found the one that's right for my timing. I'd love to do a Spartan at some point, and I saw someone posted a Ragnar out in New Jersey, and I was like, I could do Ragnar. I love those races; they're a lot of fun. So I'm debating a bunch of different things, but trying to figure out what fits in there. Right now, we just finished up basketball coaching. I'm getting ready to head into soccer season, so just trying to weigh a lot of different things and figure out what's best.
Yeah, it's hard, man. My kids very much into sports, and sometimes I have two boys and a girl, so each boy might be in two sports at the same time. And now Eleanor, she's getting into things, and I'm like, how do I do anything on the weekend? We always have something going on, so it is hard to line up those times. But do you really like the races, like the atmosphere, those kind of things? Are you a big fan of those?
I love getting into them, and I love going with people that you know and stuff.
Yeah.
That's the fun part. And then just getting to the end, knowing you did it, knowing you did something hard. I've got my medals up on my wall over here, so I can remember my PR times and things like that. So I like to know I've got something to shoot for. For half marathons, I'm always shooting for under 2. My best was an hour 43 right before I got into CrossFit and stuff.
That's awesome.
But I'm not looking at trying to break that hour 43 ever again. Like that was a feature. I just 100% booked all my training, getting faster, getting faster, getting faster. And my weight dropped to about 170 pounds. And my wife said to me, "You're getting way too thin. So you've got to put on some weight." And ever since I started lifting, I just said, "Much better. You're at a good weight now." So stay steady with that.
Yeah, man. And you can really burn out with those triathlon training. I had a friend who I mean, it was actually kind of crazy, the transformation. Like uh he trained for a triathlon. He did it, but I mean, like excessive amount of training. He did really well in the triathlon, but he was so broken and didn't care afterwards. He like didn't work out again for like it was like a year or two, and he gained a ton of weight, and he's just
Yep.
now getting back into it, trying to lose it. But I'm like, man, that's like, it's supposed to be this healthy thing that you're doing, right? But you can burn out so much, put too much into it to where you're like, I don't want to take another step. I don't want to do anything else. And that's a tough place to be in. So I think not trying to break the PRs is probably a better mindset.
Well, it's kind of like that Biggest Loser study that you guys did too, as far as you spend so much time dropping all that weight. And while it does impact your metabolic rate and everything, the mindset that it does to you, trying to keep that intensity up to lose that weight again becomes difficult. I want to do a marathon at some point. I won't do it right now until my kids are off to college. But I know people that have done marathon, and the same type of thing. They burn out over time, and then they don't even want to run anymore. And I never want to get to that point where I don't want to do something. And that's the tipping point for me. It's just don't want to get to the point where it's really, really sucks. I don't even want to go to it anymore.
Yeah, it should be something you enjoy. It's all I really feel like fitness, like on a consistent basis, this daily over decades, it's like a relationship with yourself. Not just the meet yourself aspect, but like, you gotta maintain a good relationship, just like you would with your wife. You got to do the same thing with fitness. You have to maintain that good relationship. And if you're always taking it to the max and it's not something you actually enjoy, that's a bad place to be in. you want to have a little bit more of a dance that lasts a longer time,
Yeah,
you know?
like I said, my wife says I'm addicted to it, but it's literally it's compartmentalized. I do it Monday, Tuesday,
Right.
Wednesday, Friday, and maybe Saturday, and that's it. I'm okay. If I miss a day, I can live with it. I don't like to, but she knows if I miss a day, I'm gonna thinking like, when can I squeeze this in? Or if I know I've got a tough week coming ahead, I've got to squeeze a workout in Sunday afternoon, which I don't want to do. And she's like, why are you doing that? Because I'm going to miss Tuesday. I know I'm not going to get Tuesday done. So I'll feel better if I get it done now. Mentally, I'm good, but it's literally an hour of time. I do it in the morning before the kids are even up, before the family's up, and that's it.
And would you say that the daily over decades, you're doing 200 level two, you said, is that kind of adding to it, like trying to make sure that you're getting them done?
Not as, I don't know if it's mentally making me, because for me, 200 is still doing the 4 to 5 days a week. So you're
Right.
not putting that extra day. That's why I didn't want to go 300. But at least I know it adds to the fact that a little bit of pressure in there. I know I've got to get it done. I know I want to get it done. It's just so it reminds me I have some other goal other than just doing it for the sake of doing it.
Yeah. And I really think it's a huge slippery slope with the like the skipping training sessions, you know. And I think your mentality is great. Like, I'm going to miss on this day, so I'm going to catch up here, you know, because I think the average of what you've done over a 30-day time period, or let's say year, is way more important. But once you start making those sacrifices here and there, I think that's when people don't realize, because most people don't track how many training sessions they had in a year. Well, I mean, most
Yeah,
people don't. Even people who work out regularly, they don't know. But then if you were to actually look at it, like, wow, I thought I worked out 5 to 6 days a week. It was like, well, you had several weeks there where you did 3, and then you did 2 that week. And so you actually ended up with, you know, 219, and you thought you were doing 300, or 119 and you thought you were doing 200. And people can be really surprised once they actually start tracking stuff like that.
exactly.
Awesome, man. Well, let's get to the last question here. See if your answers changed. A lot of garage gym athletes out there listening to this right now. So, what is your best advice for them?
I think it's like I said, it's the start. Just getting start doing something. We had a lot of people asking. I'm just getting started. Get out there, write the workout down, stay off your phone. I think a lot of people get distracted. You get the phone out, you start looking at it. I know that's been a problem for me in the past. I get sit down on my couch, I'll be doing my Bible reading in the morning, and I'll grab my phone and I start scrolling something or doing something. Like, just put it away in the morning, get away, get started doing what you know you need to start your day off with. And if it's not starting your day off with it, at least whatever time you're going to set aside, make sure that you set that time aside. Get rid of the distractions, get rid of anything that's going to stop you from doing it, especially if you're by yourself. Like for me, I have someone that I know I'm working out with. Now there are days that he's not here and I'm on my own, but it's this is the time I'm doing it. I'm getting in there, get rid of the distractions, get down there and do it. And most of the time we'll hold each other accountable. We'll text each other, be like, hey, you work it out? I got it done. I'm done. Make sure he does his side of things. So I think accountability with someone else, even if they're not training with you, helps a ton, especially if you're struggling just to get started. So if you can find that one person that you can reach out to and just hold you accountable to get it done, that can certainly add to your level. It's just finding that time, set it aside, and then hold yourself accountable or get someone else to hold you accountable.
I think that's huge. I think, you know, you kind of hit on two things there, like just getting something done. You mentioned like running earlier. I think that if you can't do anything else, or walking, because I know sometimes people might just be like beat down mentally, but if you could just like just go outside in the clothes that you're in right now, just go, and you could run in the clothes you have on, or you could walk, whatever, like just go. You're going to feel better for it. I think that's awesome. And then the accountability piece, you know, I didn't have a training partner. I don't know how long I've been training in my gym, whatever, over a decade, and I didn't have one. My brother's been training with me. It'll be closer to a year, I think, coming up in a few months, and it's been huge for accountability, you know,
Yep.
and in both ways, because he's like, this is the last thing I want to do today, but I told my brother I'd be there, so I'm here. Or like, I could be like super busy and like in work, and I really want to finish what I'm working on, but then I see his truck pull up, and I'm like, this, I got to stop. Like, he's here. I can't, like, you know, I got
Pause
to
and
go do it
go.
right now. Yeah. And so I think the accountability piece, I don't think I don't want to say I didn't value it. Maybe I didn't realize it as much until I started to have an accountability partner. I think if you can get a neighbor, and whatever, like, because my brother and I are very different fitness levels.
Yep.
And so I don't think you even have to have someone who's like well matched, because you're not, you know, I'm not looking for that competitive environment like some people are at times. But you know, it's just there. It's the person, that other person who's there, and they show up consistently. And I think that's awesome too, if you can get a partner. So that's awesome that you have one, man.
Exactly.
Well, Brian, it's awesome having you back on, man, and for you being a garage gym athlete for life, getting the workouts in for as long as you have. So I really do just want to say thank you. Thank you for being a part of the community, for getting the workouts done, and sharing your time with us and your story. I think it'd be really valuable for everybody who's listening, man. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, and thanks to the community, because the community you created is fantastic. Don't love Facebook, but love being on there just to see all the teams and see what everyone's posting. So great community, and overall, that keeps you accountable.
Yeah, man, I'm not even gonna call it Facebook anymore. It's just my Garage Gym Athlete community app. Like that's
Exactly.
that's all I use it for. I don't do anything else. But that's awesome, man. Thanks again for your time, and I look forward to catching up again in the future.
All right, man.
For listening to the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. If you want to learn more, go to garagegymathlete.com. You can learn about our training. Let us send you a copy of our book, The Garage Gym Athlete, or you can even get featured on the Garage Gym Athlete podcast. Thanks for listening.